With 9 players and 2 staff members in COVID-19 protocols, the Boston Bruins are officially on pause until after the holiday break. Going to get you caught up on all the latest with the black and gold and the latest from around the league as well, which is constantly changing, here on today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoke to Be, as well as take a look around the NHL. I want to thank you off the top for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. The podcast is free and available on all podcast platforms, so if you're an Apple user or have an Android like myself, whatever podcast app you use, please do hit that subscribe button. Each new episode will be automatically added to your feed for you to download, listen, and enjoy. If you could also rate and review, that would be very much appreciated. We got an update last night on kind of a Locked On year in review, and the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast was in the top 10 when it comes to league-wide podcasts on the Locked On network. We came in, I believe, number 7th overall, and I'd love to see that grow here in 2022. Part of that growth includes jumping on YouTube. So if you are wanting to check out the podcast in video form, you can subscribe to the Locked On Bruins YouTube channel. Been doing that for a couple months now, and you can get an inside look at my living room. Full disclosure, holiday break has started for the boys, so you could hear someone's watching YouTube in the family room, someone's playing Minecraft upstairs, another one's over at the hill sledding. It's a lot of chaos here around the holidays, but that's how it is here on the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. And there's a lot of chaos league-wide as well. We'll focus in on our Boston Bruins to begin. It was already announced that the Bruins would not play the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday. They had been scheduled to play the Ottawa Senators Sunday evening. Then they were scheduled to come home and play the Carolina Hurricanes and the Colorado Avalanche before Christmas. Now, the Montreal shutdown, I'm led to believe, was more of a Quebec-based decision. The Canadiens had played a game prior to the break in an empty arena, and the belief was they didn't want to have a repeat of that, so that game was completely scrapped. Then the Colorado Avalanche, their team was put on pause, so that took out the December 23rd game. And then finally, 2 more Bruins players, Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar, entered COVID protocols, forcing the league to close the team's training facility and postpone officially the game against Ottawa and then the game against Carolina. After that, it was announced that there is no cross-border travel in the NHL at the moment anyway, so that would have nulled last night's game. Anyway, so that's the situation for the Boston Bruins. Currently, they are scheduled to return to play on December 27th at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Because of the fact Hall and Lazar went on COVID protocols just on Saturday, they would be unavailable for the game. That game, because of the 10-day waiting period. And again, it's a very fluid situation. Literally, stay on top of your fluids. Stay hydrated, people. Don Sweeney met with the media on Saturday. He said there's lots of discussions going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of people involved in making those decisions, and it's always in the best interest from a health perspective. That is the priority. A lot of things in play. People that are a hell of a lot more equipped than myself, Don Sweeney, or other people in the organization are asking questions. And the they're just trying to put everyone in the best circumstance they possibly can and figure it out from there. Now, to recap, Boston's outbreak began last Tuesday when Craig Smith and Brad Marchand were placed in protocol. They were followed by Patrice Bergeron, who joined them on Wednesday, and then Anton Bleed, Trent Frederick, Jeremy Swayman, and a team staff member went in on Thursday. Oscar Steen was added after being recalled. And the good news is the vast majority of the players, according to Don Sweeney, have some mild symptoms. Some have had zero. One player had a day where he felt probably a little more under the weather than previously with mild symptoms. So they call it maybe moderate. 2 staff members are doing okay. They might have moderate symptoms as well. But for the most part, everybody is doing relatively well and trending in the right direction. And that's a testament to the fact that all the Bruins were double vaccinated. Obviously, it doesn't keep you from catching COVID, but it greatly reduces the symptoms. And thankfully, the Bruins that have come down with COVID are doing pretty well for the most part. A couple guys with some moderate symptoms. So that's the current situation for the Boston Bruins. They are off until at least December 27th, where they are scheduled to host the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are actually red hot. They've won 7 games in a row. Cross-border travel has been postponed for the NHL, so it's possible that those 2 teams could still meet. But the game against the Ottawa Senators on December 29th, which I was hoping to attend, likely won't take place, especially if this cross-border thing remains in effect. The league has not officially shut down for the holidays, although it looks like there's another game that's going to be postponed tonight. The Blue Jackets and Sabres. Alex Tuch was looking to make his hometown debut. My sense is that they might just put everything on pause until the Winter Classic, kind of informally kick off the season again with that game in Minnesota between the Blues and the Wild. But again, totally up in the air. Don Sweeney did provide some more updates in his nearly 20-minute meeting with the media. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, I just wanted to quickly mention Built Bar. The holiday season is here. You can grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, filled with so much holiday goodness, rich, decadent flavor, covered in chocolate, but amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, and fat. You get the best of both worlds, delicious and healthy. There's so many flavors, and it gives you that extra fuel you need to get your last-minute shopping done or get through family gatherings. And it's also a great treat after your holiday meals. You can dip your Built Bar into a piping hot cup of hot chocolate, especially the Built Bar Puffs. They're perfect for that because they have that marshmallowy interior. Right now, go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your order. Pick a box or create a box out of your favorite flavors. Get 15% off by using promo code LOCKED15 at Built.com. Thank you so much again for making Locked On Boston Bruins your first listen every day. We are going to keep plugging along here through this COVID-19 pause, as we have in seasons past. Every season so far that Locked On Bruins has been a thing. We've had COVID breaks, making the best of it. Thank you so much for sticking with the podcast and getting all the latest on the black and gold from the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. So Don Sweeney, like I said, he met with media members for about 20 minutes on Saturday evening. He said in relation to whether the team has received COVID-19 booster shots, he said the booster has been made available to all the players. Personal preference as to when and if they decide to take it. They're on the lower side percentage-wise at this point in time, but his belief is that that will change in the coming days. No hard number, but it's on the lower side at this juncture. I know up here in Canada, boosters have just been made available to those 18 and over. kind of a mad scramble to get people booked in, and hopefully the Bruins can do so soon. He was asked whether he agreed on playing last Thursday against the Islanders in New York, and he said no. In all honesty, I believe we should have been playing that game along the same lines of several other teams that have gone through similar circumstances. They played one short because they had a test come back positive after they had arrived. That's just what you're up against these days. But he does believe they made the right decision in having the Bruins play that game. So that's interesting. A lot of people would say they didn't make the right decision in having the Bruins play that game and led to further outbreak. But Don Sweeney says he didn't have a problem with it. On how frequently the team has been communicating with the NHL, he said it's daily communication, multiple times a day. But it's mostly going through Bruins team, Dr. Finn. He takes front and center. Bill Daly, deputy commissioner, has an awful lot on his plate to be communicating with teams, giving daily updates. Sometimes they're testing 3 times a day, trying to stay in communication when there is an outbreak and what direction it's trending in. What types of questions he's had for the NHL? He said, it's just a matter of how you navigate. What are the risks? What are the circumstances that lead to where we are? Just a matter of trying to adjust on the fly to some degree, but keeping the health of the players and staff first and foremost. I know General Manager Steve Yzerman of the Detroit Red Wings over the weekend said that he doesn't necessarily agree with testing asymptomatic players, that if you're asymptomatic, you should be able to go about your business. That doesn't really take into account the fact that you can pass it on. It puts players, friends, and families at risk if they're in contact. The close contact is still a big deal. Omicron variant, pretty contagious from what we've heard, more so than any other. So, yeah, it's a real balancing act here for sure. Obviously, the Jake DeBrusk trade request is still hanging over the team. And Sweeney said he's continuing to talk to other general managers, but the entire league is a little bit handcuffed at the moment. The roster freeze is coming up as well. I believe that kicks in on the 23rd. So that's probably going to put the Bruins in a situation that communication can continue, but you can't really do anything until you come out of it. They're reacting as well to where the team is out of the break, trying to prepare for actual games. So can they afford to trade DeBrusk and not have anybody coming in right away? Maybe not. If it's a hockey trade, then that's one thing. But if it's for futures, they kind of need all the bodies that they can bring in at the moment. So he said they still have some things to maneuver through. Wait and see the league's position and prepare to play coming out of the break. And hopefully they can get some clarity on who will be ready and what they can do with DeBrusk based on that. Whether the team will be ready to play on the 27th with no practice. Again, they're shut down through the 26th, so they wouldn't be able to practice the day before. He said it's kind of a level playing field for everybody across the league. Everybody's trying to make the best decisions. And they're going to be obligated to fill the roster, play the game if it's on, just like they did the other night against the Islanders. And it's their job as managers, coaches, to get the players that are available in a position that they can play and perform and hopefully be successful. It will obviously be challenging to, some players haven't skated since the 12th, 13th, then have to maybe come back just a morning skate on the 27th and play a game. That could be, that could be very difficult. But again, like you said, everybody's kind of in the same boat right now, pending a league-wide shutdown through the holidays. And that's just kind of the way it is. He said it's best for them to just try to keep the players healthy, play a full season, have a Stanley Cup tournament. That's what they're focused on. It may take periods right now where they have to step back, increase the protocols. Nobody wants a bubble situation again. Nobody wants to play in front of no fans, but it could come to that at some point as well. Finally, on how the team has learned to deal with challenges over the course of the pandemic, he said they've certainly tapped into the off-ice aspect of how this affects the players mentally as well as physically. The last few days when players were being tested 2-3 times a day, not easy. They're sitting there waiting for the results to come back, whether or not they can play. Guys are being pulled out. Some players are being tested and there's false positives. They have to do it again. It's certainly not easy for these guys. Communication is a big part of it. And, like Nick Foligno said last week, it's just been a real nightmare. So probably the best thing to do would be to shut things down fully and go from there. But again, no real decision made at this point in relation to that. That is the latest from the Boston Bruins. And right now, as of right this second, what time is it? Around 11:17 on Monday morning. The Bruins on pause through Boxing Day, scheduled to play the Pittsburgh Penguins on December 27th without a practice. Some guys not having skated for a couple weeks. Tough ask. But again, like Sweeney said, everybody's kind of in the same boat unless there is a pause until, say, January 1st, Winter Classic. Everybody has some time to skate a bit before having to play games. That would be the ideal scenario, and we'll see if that actually does happen. But again, tonight, there were some games on the schedule, including the Buffalo Sabres and the Columbus Blue Jackets. That one has been postponed. So the only game on the schedule right now is Minnesota-Dallas, with 3 other games having already been postponed. Not many on the schedule left before Christmas, so it might just be best to shut it all down. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. They have you covered all season long with props, odds, and lines for pro college football, pro college basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC. You can head to their new updated or mobile website, desktop or mobile website today, and get all the latest odds for your betting needs. You can get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit by using promo code LOCKEDON. Again, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Use promo code LOCKEDON for a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you sign up for a free account today. So that is the latest on the Bruins. Again, when it comes to the league, all cross-border games between Canadian and American clubs have been postponed through the 26th. I believe 7 teams have officially shut down, including our Boston Bruins. The Maple Leafs were shut down. The Flames, Hurricanes, Avs, Red Wings, a couple others, the Predators, I believe. It really looks as though we're on the verge of getting an announcement about the Olympics, which seems pretty much off the table at this point. That announcement could come as early as today, where the league says players are not going. They are trying to fit in as many games, it seems, before the holiday break, trying to take it on a case-by-case, team-by-team basis. That's why you haven't seen a full shutdown yet. But again, that could be coming. There still could be some movement on the trade front as maybe the holiday freeze is already in place. Sunday, December 9th until the 28th. So, yeah, there will be no trades this week. Chicago Blackhawks are a team that could be very active. Marc-Andre Fleury, Dylan Strome, Dominic Kubalik could become trade candidates. And the Jacob Chychrun situation is still looming as well. The Bruins could be in on some of these Blackhawks, but again, I don't really think they have the assets to get a Jacob Chychrun deal done. But that is all secondary to this current COVID-19 outbreak and getting players back on the ice and healthy. So that's pretty much it for today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins. Like I said, we will continue to record throughout this week, bringing you all the latest on the Boston Bruins. League-wide COVID-19 news. Probably won't record on Christmas Eve, maybe not Thursday either, since there won't be anything going on. But we'll be active through the holidays. One thing we can keep an eye on is the World Junior Championship. Boston Bruins prospect Fabian Lysell will be representing Team Sweden. So that will be a big point of focus for me here on the podcast. And also, I guess some more TV talk. 2 episodes left of Money Heist. Hoping to finish that off today. And going to start the 1883 Yellowstone prequel. Very excited to check that out as well. I hope you're all keeping well, staying safe. Over the weekend, I did see Spider-Man No Way Home. Took my 2 older sons to check that out. No spoilers, but it's probably my favorite Marvel movie. I think I maybe liked Multiverse better just because it did it first. But No Way Home, spectacular. And if you do have a chance to see it in theater, we saw it in 3D, which some people some people maybe not. But it was well worth checking out in a theater if you can get out and see that. Bring a little holiday joy into your lives. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. That's the latest on the Boston Bruins. Really disappointing to be in this position again, certainly, and to not have, there was a couple big home games on the schedule this week against Colorado and Carolina. Those would have been really fun to watch, but the priority is getting these guys healthy and back on the ice in the new year in a safe way, or as safe as possible anyways. So take care, friends. Happy Monday. Talk to you again tomorrow here on the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.